What is the most disturbing thing you've heard said casually? I'm a pre-K teacher, and one day when I was doing lessons, one of my 4-year-old boys asked me if I kill small animals. Horrified, I said no, why would you ask me that? And he said, I want to do that, because I'm not big enough to kill people yet. Had to report it to my admin staff. They called a meeting with his parents. The parents just laughed it off. I'll be looking for that kid's name on the news in 15 years. I was working at a gas station when I was 17/18. The corporate offices were directly behind us. Subby would come and get lunch and snacks from time to time. One man in particular always came to my register. One day, when his wife stepped away to grab something, he casually said to me, I want to tow you up, throw you in the back of my truck, and drive away. It was the creepiest thing anyone had ever said to me, and the way he said it so casually and nonchalant. I quit very quickly after that. I worked medical health equipment delivery in college for a short amount of time. I was delivering some equipment from the company to Arnold Sweet Couple. Husband was wheelchair bound, with severe issues till the ESI was doing the assembly within earshot of them. The old man was groaning, saying he had given up and was ready to check out. His old lovely wife was sitting there rubbing his face, giving him words of encouragement. Come on, Jim, you are the strongest man I have ever known. You will come out of this. You are a fighter and survivor. Remember who you are. You are the man that killed 3 people and the cops didn't catch you. I pretended I didn't hear that and noped it out of here. And #X200B. Edit. I have no idea if they were messing with Mebit, they did not mention it later. Dude was in the Korean War and had some crazy dry dark humor due top TSD, but the wife? If it was some twisted joke, they got me for sure. I was the only one that delivered to them and we were on a friendly basis. Something I once heard a passing stranger say, for which I have no context. He wears a scarf around his neck so you can't see where he's decaying. I've been curious for years and it annoys me, Thass'll never know. When younger, I worked at a pool and had to lifeguard senior aerobics classes. Most participants wear 65 plus. Where's so-and-so? Oh, he won't be here. His wife was put into hospice. Well, I feel bad for him, but we do need some more single men around here. He's not bad looking, has a retirement too. How there's gonna be a gang fight, and my neighbors wanted to apologize for noise beforehand. I was a camp counselor during the summers in high school and often had the youngest group of boys, usually 8 to 9 years old. While we were at the lake catching frogs and tadpoles and stuff, one kid picked up a bag with the group's frogs and spun it around and then slammed it into the ground very hard, killing the frogs. My co-counselor kind of yelled at him like, why would you do that? You killed them. The kid responded with this weirdly sick smile. I kill things all the time. I kill rats. I kill squirrels. I kill snakes. I kill dogs. I even killed a cat once when I caught it. Everyone was kind of stunned by this. Even the other kids were creeped out and nobody seemed to respond for a long few seconds. My co-counselor and I were like, okay, that's enough lake for today. The kid was weird. He didn't have many friends and we thought he was bullied because he got picked on early on that summer, and we later found out beat the shit out of the kid who picked on him. But it turned out the kids knew better than us that he was a complete psycho. I don't know what happened to him. He moved away so didn't come back to camp after that year, but I'm convinced he'll end up in a news headline someday. An ex after I ended things. I don't understand. If I want to be in a relationship with you but you don't want to be in a relationship with me, why do you get to win? We had a recording for an international commercial where I work and my colleague asked me if I've ever been in television. I said, yes, a couple of times, but nothing major. View. In which she replied with, once, when my best friend was murdered and they tried to catch the killer. I picked up my roommate's hamster and threw it against the wall. At Macy's, 2 teen girls, women over 30 have fugliest elbows. OMG. I know. Very disturbing. I always ask my mom to wear long sleeves when we go out to eat. Girl 1. I'm so hungry. Girl 2. Why don't you eat something? You're pregnant. Girl 1. Because I don't want to have it. This was in line for a roller coaster, by the way. What is the scariest thing seen in the ocean that has a photographic proof? There's a surprising lack of links to photos in this thread about photographic proof. It's hard to pick scariest, but sperm whales are my vote for a top-tier scary ocean creature. Humans shave nothing to fear. Sperm whales have never been known to eat us, but that's because they choose not to. The link is about sperm whales versus orcas, also an incredibly scary animal if it wants to kill you. Similarly to sperm whales, wild orcas essentially never do. Sperm whales are loud enough that they can probably kill a person with their clicks alone. If you look at the stats in my first link, you'll see they are huge, powerful predators. They have 8-inch teeth that are 2 pounds each, and they kill other animals with single hits from their tails. I don't know if this makes them scarier, but they can survive 10,000 feet below the surface for up to 60 minutes. The pressure there is over 300x that at the surface, and that's close to the depth where the Titan submersible is believed to have imploded earlier this year. Edit. Thanks to you, SquigglePig52, they pointed me towards this video where a gentleman named James Nestor is talking about potentially lethal free dives with these monsters. So you've got an intelligent 50 to 60 foot 45-ton master predator that can kill you with its voice and hunt you down basically anywhere in the water, including past the point where the pressure would kill you instantly. This elbow squid motherfucker has given me nightmares for a decade. Bobbit worms. They look like something out of a hell dimension. They range FR 4-year-old male inches to 10 feet long, and their jaws are so powerful that they can snap fish in half. And what's worse about them compared to a lot of the answers in this thread is that you can end up with a bobbit worm in your home saltwater aquarium by accident. They like to live in holes off large rocks, which are also popular among aquarium enthusiasts to use as decor, or hide inside the substrate at the bottom of an aquarium. As they are ambush predators who are mostly active at night, you probably won't figure out that there's one inside your aquarium until you notice fish have started to go missing. These worms are almost impossible to get rid of out of your large aquarium rocks, as they can cling so tightly to the hole they're in that you can't pull them out. They're also really good at hiding in small spaces. If you tear the worm apart trying to get it out, which is pretty easy to do, the leftover part inside the rock hole can regenerate into a new bobbit worm. Here's the story of a poor aquarist who found a bobbit worm in his tank. What's the weirdest thing someone casually told you as if it were totally normal? I was chatting to a woman in the grocery checkout line and she commented that she'd lost a lot of weight. It was on topic. Since I need to lose weight, I asked her how she did it. She said her husband, now ex, has poisoned her with antifreeze over a period of time. She barely survived. I wasn't sure what to say, so I said that I didn't think I'd try that method of weight loss. She laughed. A homophobic guy I know. Being gay is a choice. I said something like, okay, choose to be gay for a day, an hour, a single minute if you can. Alright. That's easy. I'm attracted to men all the time. I just choose to only like girls because I'm not gay. Oh, my parents fight every day and my father left in a rage this morning saying he was going to jump in front of a train. I hope he comes back before I get home. He did before. I've had 12 Deweys, 8 concussions and have died twice. Can't wait till I can drive again. This time I'll take life more seriously, once I get this ankle bracelet off and my license back. IDK. What was the most alarming part of the sentence? A friend of mine was explaining to me why he had to repeat kindergarten. When I was 5, I was at family BBQ, and I couldn't find my dad. I looked all over, and finally, I found him in the garage. He was tied to a chair, and 2 of his cousins were beating the shit out of him. A couple of days later, my dad was driving me to school, and he saw one of the cousins walking down the street. He pulled over, jumped out of the car, and shot his cousin in the head. I missed too many days of kindergarten because of the murder trial, so I had to repeat it. I'm standing on a corner in the middle of the city writing a text message. I hear this woman start ranting and raving. I don't take notice until I hear her say, "Ya fucking Jew boy." I look up, and she starts singing, Jew boy," and pointing at me like a kindergarten bully. I'm confused for several reasons. Firstly, she's well dressed in a business suit and nice hair and shoes. Secondly, I'm not even Jewish. Husband, 30, and I were pushing our shopping cart to the grocery store when a random man, who honestly looked like Dumbledore, looked at my husband and said, "Take my hat. You're gonna need it. You'll be bald very soon." Obviously, my husband didn't take it. It was super odd of him to say because my husband had a full head of hair. 3 months later, my husband was diagnosed with a condition that made him lose all of his hair. Weird coincidence. Was like 10 or 11 and riding public transit and had some dude in his 30s sits next to me putting me so I'm in the window seat and they're in the aisle seat so I'm trapped and starts talking about how he just got out of prison for raping his brother and how you shouldn't do that just because someone makes you angry. Told in a way where they thought they were passing on really helpful life advice. Was so surreal I didn't even realize how disturbing it actually was until the first retelling of the story. I know a guy. We don't talk often but due to business we cross paths on occasion. More or less every time we talk he asks if I'm ready for the total societal collapse coming next week, or Tuesday, or at the end of the month, and so on. I just tell him that it's not gonna happen. He usually then asks about my crystal ball, so I remind him that I've been right every time. What is that stupid slutty thing that you did and felt good about it afterwards? An ex-coworker and I had a thing for each other and had been harmlessly flirting for a few months. She was this tiny little woman. Maybe 5 feet 2 inches and 100 lb sweat. Mostly kept to herself, ate her lunches in her car. Very unsuspecting. I asked her to dinner and she blushed bright red, but said yes. The day of the date arrived and I called her when I pulled up to her apartment to tell her I was outside and she didn't answer, so I thought she was blowing me off. She called back a few minutes later and told me to come in as she had just gotten out of the shower and wasn't ready yet. She buzzed me in and left the door open so I can let myself in. I'm sitting on her couch, scrolling through my phone and she comes out of her room in a full leather and fishnet outfit. I asked her if she was serious and she smacked me across the face. Turns out she was a legitimate dominatrix. Never made it to dinner. Andy learned a lot about myself that night, lol. Best part was when I saw her at work the following Monday. She was right back to her prim and proper self and acted as if nothing ever happened. It was a complete mindfuck. Never in my life, before or since, have I ever had a better sexual encounter. Left a job and got hit on by a former staff member. She was the nerdiest, most unsexual person. And she turned out to be an absolute fiend. She called me once on my way to work. I was dressed in a suite in a packed train in Melbourne, and she was working herself over with a giant purple dildo and talked dirty to me the entire 40-minute journey. I just made appropriate, interesting. Tell me how you feel about that. Noises the whole way. Margaret, you were a gem. Had sex with an older coworker after going out for drinks. It was a fun time back at her place. We did all kinds of stuff, and she was very loud. Didn't ruin our work or our relationship. We're still friends. Just a good time that we ended up having a few times. Remember, people, everyone commenting is at least 5 uglier than what you're picturing. Dropped a couple $100s on a hotel room to sleep with a bridesmaid after the wedding cause both of our hotel rooms had friends in them. Wore a dress that showed my ankles. Got a BJ in a public bathroom. Hot AF, and I regret nothing. This is more a story about my wife, but it was awesome and I still think about it today. Long before we were married, we might not have even been living together yet. We had tickets to see Phantom of the Opera live. I dressed up nicely and she put on a very cute cocktail dress for the occasion. As we were driving around lost in downtown Houston trying to find parking for the theater, I asked if she wore a thong with the tight dress or if she went au natural. She said she wore a thong, and I said, that's too bad. Then she pulled her panties off, hiked up her skirt, and let me finger her until she came while I drove around. Then she pulled her dress back down, did not put her panties back on, and while the play was going on, I would occasionally reach over and run my hand up her thigh. Drove 2 hours to let an older woman tie my junk up, pour wax on me, and then wank me off with a Hitachi.